All right, guys, welcome to a Monday episode. Here we are to discuss quite a wild market. I mean, this thing is going nuts. A lot of great stories to talk about today. Top 4 or 5 stories today. First one, Domino's Pizza stocks fall on disappointing sales, and CEO thinks more chains will follow. I remember reading today they did same-store sales about 0.9% versus expected of 2.6%. What does that mean? Same store sales is a great metric for anybody who sells products through stores or locations because it shows us, hey, in the stores and locations that have been around for a year or longer, and it varies by company, how are the store growth? They grew at 0.9% versus 2.6% expected. They also had a double miss, 1.15 billion in revenue versus 1.16 expected, and 4.13 cents in profit when 428 was expected. A double miss. Let's see how the stock is doing today. Let's see. Domino's faced stiffer competition from rival pizza chains, Papa John's and Pizza Hut. You know what they say, no one out pizzas the Hut. So let's see how Domino's did today. Down 9%, down $34. This thing has been a crazy stock. All-time high of 567 on December 23rd, 2021. So, guys, whenever it comes to any company, they don't crush forever. I mean, if you're sitting here looking at the chart back here, you've been like, oh my God, Domino's just dominates. What the heck is going on here? But it's been sideways and down since then. In the short run, stocks are a voting machine. In the long run, they are a weighing machine. That brings me to a second thing I want to discuss today. Intel stock. Guys, in the short run, stocks are voting. Guys, I own Intel stock. I want you guys to, whoever's new to this channel, I want you to hear this because it's a great indication. And I'm patting myself on the back repeatedly here about how I'm able to take my bias out of this view here to a certain element. We all will have bias. I own Intel stock. I've been talking about Intel stock forever. Intel stock was at $17 a share 1 year ago. It's at $84 today. Finally hit an all-time high versus 2000. 26 years of going nowhere. Guys, I do not understand how the stock is selling for $84, besides saying in the short run, stocks are a voting machine. In the long run, they're a weighing machine. This company is still in a turnaround. They had a double beat. They were surging already. Guys, this is the 1 year. It's up 300% in the last 1 year. In the last 1 year, it's up 300%. That's 4x in 1 year. That's unbelievable. That's unfair. This is a company that just literally people were talking about bankruptcy, a year ago. The government, I mean, this is unbelievable. Guys, please do not fall for the fact that this company is up a lot and that means it's worth it. I do not think as a shareholder that this thing is worth 84, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't make decisions based on yourself. Don't ever buy, sell, do anything based on what somebody on the internet says. Take it for a way of thinking. We're trying to teach a process here, but this is unbelievable to me. I don't understand how this even happens. And now all of a sudden people are asking me, Paul, what's going on with Intel? What's going on with Intel? I'm like, guys, it doesn't make sense. Stop thinking this is a reality. Does not make sense at all to me. All right. It's just further, I can't speak to how put emphasis on this anymore. In the short run, stocks are a voting machine. In the long run, it's a weighing machine. Where will this thing go? I have no idea. When will it stop? I have no idea. Is it on its way back to 15? I have no idea. Do I think it's worth 84? I personally do not think it's worth 84, but you might have better insight than me. All right, guys. So Ray Dalio here. Next article, next news. Ray Dalio says that Kevin Warsh, the new Fed chair, shouldn't cut interest rates in a stagflation era. I don't know if stagflation is what we're in right now. He says we are certainly in a stagflationary period right now. Now, guys, I am going to go back to the 70s. That's when stagflation was really apparent. But back then, we had inflation from 1970 to 1980 that basically averaged 7 or 8% per year. 7 or 8% per year. How did we fight it? We increased interest rates. That is what Ray Dalio is saying here. Listen, if you cut rates, it's going to keep inflation going and going and going. And I can't say that with 100% certainty, but it's pretty logical. When you cut rates, businesses spend more, people buy more. That means that more things are bought. I think more people we need to go out there and do the work. And that means higher wages, especially right now when we already still have low unemployment. So I look at this going, are we in stagflation? I've always said that I'm concerned about stagflation, but the current inflation rate is about par with history. So let's go. I mean, we're historical average is 3 to 3.5%. We're not at 5, 6, 7% consistently having hard time fighting it. In the 70s, we were at 7, 8% consistently, and it was hard to fight it. Very difficult. So I don't know if I buy into that as much about stagflation being currently here. Doesn't mean it wouldn't happen, but I have a little bit of an issue with that. And he says we're certainly in a stagflationary period because of the issues that are here in terms of more immediate inflation are farther from the target. Okay, maybe. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but maybe. I do think that Trump is way too keen on cutting rates for his personal selfish reasons. We don't need to cut rates either. I don't think we should be increasing rates. I don't think we need to cut rates. I think staying the same is fine. And I don't think Ray Dalio is saying we should increase rates, but he's saying we shouldn't cut rates. And I do agree with that. I don't know if I agree with the stagflation, but the guy runs a multi-trillion dollar, they call it hedge fund, but it's basically multi-trillions of dollars is really a hedge fund at some point. I don't know if I necessarily agree with all those assumptions that are being made there. So what does that mean for your stocks?
Absolutely nothing.
I shouldn't say that. Guys, my biggest concern about stocks, as you've always heard me talk about, is valuation. Stock market to GDP, 10-year PE. And here's my updated. We are 128% overvalued in terms of the 10-year PE ratio, and we are 130% overvalued in terms of the stock market to GDP ratio. The two most reliable metrics over long periods of time in terms of what that means look at the correlation here, negative 8.82. If anybody's a mathematician out there, that correlation is high. What that basically means is the more undervalued we are, the worse the future returns are. If you look at history, when we're 50% or more overvalued, there are 33 quarters out of the last 100 years. We've had basically 33 quarters where our valuation was 50% or more overvalued. We're 130% now, almost triple, 2.5 times more overvalued. And the average return, not including dividends, is negative 2.4%. Guys, I just think the next 10 or 15 years are going to be ugly. If you're expecting to make 8, 9, 10% returns, I think you got to ride a lot of weight. Doesn't mean you stop investing. I dollar cost average every single month in a low cost ETFs. I sell cash secured puts on companies I like at much lower prices and companies that make me have a higher return than the market average. These are the things that we're talking about here. I don't want everybody to ignore valuation. Everybody ignores valuation. You cannot ignore it. It is such an important aspect of understanding where we stand in the cycle. Doesn't mean you sell. Doesn't mean you say, well, Paul, if we're overvalued, but we don't know what's going to happen. We've been overvalued for many years and valuations keep getting better. Look at this. Our fair value right now, according to history, is 3118. A mere 6 years ago was 2050, and we were overvalued then by 36% and 65% and 87% and 90%, and still valuations kept getting better. But where does it mean it's going to end? I have no idea. All I think, and all I can say at the end of the day, guys, the more you pay for any sort of stream of future cash flows, the less money you're going to make. That's just reality. It's just math. Unless we all of a sudden have some massive growth in GDP for the next 10 years, which a lot of people think AI is going to do. But the funny part is people say that on one hand, and on the other hand, they say, oh, it's going to eliminate a lot of jobs and people are going to be jobless forever. I'm like, well, how can you have both? How can you have AI eliminating tons of jobs and getting rid of jobs forever, but also have it lead to amazing productivity that gets us a ton of money? That just seems counterintuitive to me. I could be wrong. But I look at these things thinking to myself, how do these all work together? I think the more you think about it, the worse it's going to be. I think the basic premise is dollar cost average into low cost ETFs and be very strategic about individual stocks you buy. Buy them when they make a lot of sense to you and be ready for them to fall further. Because if all of a sudden we had a bear market, you better believe that all 30 companies I own, I'm willing to bet a lot of money. I would say 95% of them are going to go down with the market. Not necessarily in tandem, could be less, could be more, I have no idea. But the idea is that when the next bull market finally does come, these things are going to spring into action. And I'm hoping they fall less because I'm buying undervalued companies. Hopefully they fall less, but we'll see. That's the hard part. Now, guys, this is our Everything Money Plus channel. If you've been here before, check out our community, check out our software. It helps people sleep better at night, helps them make better decisions because we all, at some point in our lives, are scared to pull the trigger on investments. But the more you understand, the less the fear you'll have. And that's what our community and software help you do. So go check it out, everythingmoney.com. The link below and also the first pinned comment will have that link. And if you're new to our channel, subscribe to us because on Wednesday, we have the Super Bowl of all earnings. Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, Google, and Chipotle. That is 4 of the Magnificent Seven will be reporting on Wednesday, plus my own personal favorite. It's funny. I was at a wedding this weekend in Florida, and I was talking to one of my wife's family members, and I was like, "Oh, I love McDonald's." Like, yeah, so do I. I go, he's like, "It's my favorite fast food." I'm like, I don't consider Chipotle fast food, but that would be my favorite. But yeah, McDonald's my favorite fast food. But anyways, Chipotle coming on the deck on Wednesday. We do this. We make 4 or 5 videos every single week. We update people what's going on. They're great reminders of what's going on in the market as well as our process. And the market's been on a tear the last few weeks. So of course, all-time highs. That's the way it goes. Eventually, when that stops happening, you're going to be very, very glad that you found this channel. I assure you of that. Thank you for your time.